Sure, okay.
Yeah, I think so. We can just take questions after you're both done. So go ahead.
All right, let me try and share my screen. Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right, get the presentation. So Gary, just time check here. I was thinking of maybe spending 10 minutes on this. Is that okay still?
Yeah. No, I think well, it's about eight, but we're all
Okay.
adults. So these things typically will go past 8:30.
I see. Okay. Okay. So it's technically till 8:30 the meeting. Okay. Yeah, so basically bridging the practicalities that Tom talked about to kind of the policy and strategy world here. Be Smart is a proactive approach to mass beneficial electrification of existing buildings. This is what Carbon Free Palo Alto has been working on for the last couple of years. We're trying to put together a program that's really kind of a roadmap that cities and people can use to visualize what needs to be done here. So BE is beneficial electrification, a very big and feasible opportunity for carbon reduction. So I think you saw this chart earlier or something like it in Gary's picture, but I wanted to, highlight this buildings sector emissions, and that 50%, over 50% of those emissions are coming from furnaces and water heaters burning gas in California. So this is a huge opportunity with all of the great products right off the shelf that you can get, based on what you saw Tom talking about. So if you look at gas use in the residential space over here on the right, then you really see that water heating, space heating is the bulk of this, and we really need to kind of focus on the great solutions that are already there. We've got electric solutions that are probably 3, 4, 5 times as efficient as gas devices. So it's really a big opportunity. Now, there are a lot of challenges, and that's kind of building on what Gary said there. This is a kind of schematic from Rewiring America. Saul Griffith has a big campaign right now to push this idea that we really have no room left in a 1.5 to 2 degree scenario for more fossil fuel devices. So we have to get to work here to get to 100% substitution immediately to stay on that trajectory. If you look at the adoption rates that happen with just market development, providing subsidies, maybe a carbon tax, we're just going to be in 3 degrees. I mean, we're off the charts there. So we really have to move as quickly as possible to the 100% replacement at end of life. And if we do well, we'll be retiring earlier, as Tom said, these devices even before their end of life, because electric is such a superior solution. So these business as usual replacement rates are kind of inadequate. I borrowed this also from Tom, who's been doing a lot of work in Menlo Park, but just to show you kind of quickly for water heaters, this on the left here is kind of a graph of aggressive rebates, trying to help adoption, get the market moving. Some people will use the rebate and replace their gas device with a heat pump water heater, but you're going to be out in 2040 by the time you start getting rid of all those gas water heaters. Whereas on the right here, if you replace everything as it reaches its end of life, we have a chance here of getting into the 2030 timeframe and really cutting in half the emissions for water heating in the state. So needless to say, rebates are pretty expensive, so they don't scale beyond these early adopters. We did some look at the Silicon Valley Clean Energy installed base. They're talking about probably 1,000 of the 20,000 water heaters that fail per year, spending about $2 million if they had to provide rebates for all those folks. That's 400 million a year just for the Bay Area in rebates if we were providing $2,000 per water heater, which is currently what's being provided in PCE and SCCE. Absolute cost, no recovery, difficult if not impossible to apply to all customers over a 13-year period. So rebates really are not the answer. And then on top of that, they're not addressing all of these barriers that we have to mass electrification. So we've got high upfront costs, these one-time costs to retrofit to get your house ready or your building ready for these electric devices. You know, the change out cost like for an electric device is cheaper than a gas device, but you still got this one-time upgrade to your electric systems. Split incentives for renters versus landlords. Landlords do not experience the direct savings or benefits from the installed electric device. So they don't have a big incentive to invest more upfront on electric devices compared to gas. It's a complex, time-consuming process. Most customers are not that interested in figuring out you know, the therms and watts of water heating and furnaces. Emergency replacements are the norm, especially for hot water heaters. These leave no time for budget or no time or budget for the beneficial electrification upgrade. So most people who are caught in an emergency replacement will go with gas because it's the easiest, quickest thing to do. And that opportunity is lost to get an electric device in there. And then finally, we really have mispriced gas and electric rates. They disfavor beneficial electrification by ignoring carbon costs, time of use. There's kind of, you know, the tiers are not correct. We're distributing the distribution costs inequitably. So that's a big issue for us. So all of these kind of add up to the market's not going to be developing very fast. So we'll still require regulatory solutions, even if we make it very easy for customers. So this timeline means that the solutions are required in addition to a comprehensive program like we're proposing, Be Smart, that removes these main barriers of adoption. But it's just a first step to enable the introduction of regulatory approaches that accelerate the adoption and development. So we need these things to become obligatory measures that people take. So let me summarize quickly here what we're talking about when we talk about Be Smart and a complete solution. So it kind of is couched in a strategy here of mass electrification. So we have about 10 years to replace the majority of existing fossil fuel devices. We need to make it easy and economical for all the customers to replace their devices that are reaching their end of life with the beneficial electrification devices. And we have two basic tactics. One is to introduce a program or programs that comprise a complete installation solution with on-bill financing to balance the customer benefit with cost recovery. And then two is to mandate electrification through measures as these programs become available. So as it gets easy and feasible politically, then we pass these mandates.
Sunworks, Cal Poly.
So Be Smart, in a nutshell.
Went to Cal Poly and he did Sunworks and went through the program.
Sorry, somebody needs
I've got
to
a guide you can look at.
I think I hear somebody talking in the background. Could they mute themselves?
Yeah, it was a little loud. So in a nutshell, what our proposal depends on utilities proactively orchestrating the replacement of soon-to-fail fossil fuel devices with electric devices. This replacement process is designed from the beginning to be very quick and easy for the customer. So the utility will actually do the installation as if it's a piece of infrastructure for the grid. Customers would be obliged to pay an initial outlay equal to the business's usual cost of replacing their device with another fossil fuel device. So we're asking, you know, the customers to step up for a normal investment to roll their device to a new device. And then the difference between that, the electric device installation cost and this business as usual would be financed, very low interest rates, 0, but certainly less than 2% for all customers with no credit check. So really a standard kind of cost recovery program for the utility. And then further, the term of the loan would be very long. So the lifetime of the device, maybe 10 years for a heat pump water heater. the maximum amount that would be financed would depend on that device. So a water heater would be different from a heat pump space heater. The monthly payments for the financed amount would be added to the utility bill as a tariff. So that goes into tariffed on-bill financing is a specific form of on-bill financing. No, we don't have time to go into the details here, but that's really kind of a cost, infrastructure cost recovery mechanism that is the most efficient for a utility and most convenient for customers that we're promoting. And these monthly operational savings would offset the tariff. So in most cases, the electric bill is going to be less than the gas bill. It's not a clear shot today, but definitely over time, the understanding is that gas rates are going to rise and electric is going to be more competitive. But starting out, if we have this problem of the operational savings not offsetting this monthly payment, then for renters, low to moderate income owners, the utility would offer a fixed monthly discount to offset that tariff. So we'd keep people whole on their bill in those segments. So just as an example, this would basically mean that for any customer, the business as usual cost here, $1,200 would be what they would pay with financing. So for example, if you've got a $2,000 rebate, even a pretty high rebate like that, you're still asking the customer to pay more than the business as usual costs. Right now, $3,500 is about the going rate for a competitive installation of a heat pump water heater. And the B Smart would require the outlay of just that $1,200, which would be the normal cost of replacing a like-for-like gas water heater, and the rest would be financed. So in the third column there, you'll see the $1,800 financed on the bill, monthly, paid back over 10 years. Because of economies of scale, that is B Smart being a systematic rollout, every customer would be upgrading. You get the cost down for installing these devices. And you've also got the utility working on competitive contracting. So they're negotiating volume agreements for the installation of these devices and qualification criteria for those installers. So the beauty of this from a utilities perspective, who takes the end-to-end responsibility for ensuring that beneficial electrification is successful long-term, if they're doing rebate programs, that's kind of lost money. You know, that's going to cost, for example, in this case of Silicon Valley Clean Energy, we calculated for 10,000 units. If they wanted to replace that, that's about $20 million of rebate cost. Whereas with B Smart, you finance that and you've really just got program management costs of say $1.5 million to run that program. So from the utility perspective, this makes sense in terms of it's a much better way to leverage your program money. So that's about it as far as the story for B Smart. So there's more at our website, carbonfreepaloalto.org, with a full presentation if you wanted to go through kind of our whole kind of narrative story there and some more examples. But I just wanted to bring up from an advocacy perspective for folks, Sierra Club folks who are interested in getting, pushing more on these policy levers. So utilities and CCAs are really where it's happening. They play a pivotal role in enabling mass electrification. They've got that end-to-end interest, so they want to make it easy. They want to increase their load. They want to sell more electricity, and they want happy long-term customers. But they need supportive pressure and policy from the cities to ensure that that volume grows as fast as possible. If we get mandates, if we, for example, get reach codes similar to reach codes for existing buildings, then overnight we've generated a very regular business for rollout of these programs for those CCAs or utilities. So the mandates and the programs really go hand in hand in generating an acceptable program for communities. So leading examples already, we've, over the past 2 years, we've had many conversations. A lot of people are coming to the same conclusion that this is the path we have to go down. So we're starting to see it at SMUD, Sacramento. whole home electrification for low income. They're negotiating volume agreements to completely electrify homes for low income segments, getting very competitive bids there. We have Sonoma Clean Power doing an advanced energy center with on-bill financing. So right now they're just about to introduce, I think they've got a WebEx. If it's open, you can catch it, but they're doing 0% financing, 0 down, 10-year payback for selected electrification measures up to $10,000. So that's kind of their starting for a complete solution. They recommend installers. They don't do a direct installation, but it's a very big jump in terms of ease of adoption for customers. And of course, Silicon Valley Clean Energy and PCE have helped a lot with reach codes. You know, their program there, which I kind of glossed over here, but we got 42 cities in California to adopt reach codes, and they were getting these were stronger and stronger reach codes as we went forward. And it's because the CCAs were able to help educate them about the best practices, the best types of codes, training for some of the installers, presentations that would get the comfort level up for the decision makers, which are council members, mayors of these cities. So it really helps to have this joint approach to solving these problems and getting the comfort level of the public that this can be done. So policy levers at the utility, CC, city, county level. These are kind of program elements. They're basically building blocks for getting a mass beneficial electrification program going. So we need low, no interest financing. You've really got the CCAs, counties in the driver's seat helping with that. On-bill financing, again, CCA, county may be able to help. Low to moderate income BE support. Same players there. Contractor qualification, referral, direct install. CCAs are well placed for this, but cities as well can do their part to help qualify installers for their code and their installations. Installer training, there's education and guidance. These are really important to get people on the same page and understanding how this can be done feasibly and that there are many available solutions. It's really just a matter of California coming up to speed on the solutions that have been adopted and developed for, over the last couple decades in Asia and in other parts of the US. Permit streamlining and incentives. This is another real hot topic for installers. They really don't like to do permits because it's expensive, it's time consuming, it's different in each city. So we need to get together and help the cities streamline that permitting process and standardize that across the jurisdictions and really make it attractive to get a permit. Right now, it's all a negative unless you're getting that rebate, but we could also make it attractive in terms of qualifying for 0% financing, 0 down, those kind of incentives to get people into the program. And then lowering the cost and making it very easy. Instead of inspections on site, you might have certified installers that obviate the need for an inspection. That way, we get the city and the utility aware of and capturing that data. That's very useful for expanding the grid. Rational, which would be favorable electricity rates. So we really are not doing ourselves any favors with, loading the cost of, forest fires onto the electric grid. That's probably not the right thing to do. There are a lot of factors that go into why we're having forest fires right now, and it's probably not, good to put that on with electricity ratepayers. But there's also time of use. There are all electric tiers that you can form. You can give discounts to those low, moderate income folks, and also a carbon price or some type of reflection. SMUD has done a lot to kind of justify rebates in this by valuing carbon and making adjustments to their payback. And city ordinances, so reach codes, obviously, I'm not sure how those are fanning out in San Benito and south of the Bay Area. But gas device prohibitions are probably coming. We're working on these things. It's, these are safety police powers that can be applied by cities. Berkeley's working on this a lot. So those are options for cities to say, hey, we need to do this for health, safety reasons, as well as just efficiency, sustainability. There are legal avenues to get those kinds of prohibitions in place, and that really generates the market. I just threw up this list also at the end. These were mentioned earlier in the meeting tonight, the Cortese bills at least. So there are other bills here from Becker, and they're all electrification related. So there's a lot of attention now coming to bear in the in the legislature here to try and push things that will help the market along. There's more that's needed, but this is an example of things that can be supported. That's it for now. I hope that stays within the allotted time.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Brett. And I didn't thank Tom before. Thank you. That's been very informative. A lot of information. I've heard these two gentlemen speak on the topic before, and I'm always picking up something new. This is very dense. I'd like to open it up for questions. I guess, well, first of all, I have made Molly a co-host. So if she was dying to put up one or two slides, you want to do so now?
Yeah, I'll put up my slide.
Okay.
Let's see, where is it? Yeah, so this is just regarding SB 30, 31, and 32. There's a fact sheet, and I give the website there. The next one is the website where you can find your legislator. Once you click on their name, you can go to their webpage, click on contact, enter, they want to know who you are to comment, and then you can choose to comment on legislation and make your comment. It goes directly to their staff. So it's really simple to get your voice heard for our legislators.
Okay.